Welcome again to our Zoom and FB participants to our webinar. Doc, okay ba to? And ang 3Bs para kay baby. Our webinar series is called Institute of Pediatrics Learning Academy's Coffee and Conversations. Watch out for this logo for our future webinars. We hope to fill your morning with gems to power up your Saturday morning. So grab a cup of coffee and just relax. This webinar is brought to you by the Medical Cities Institute of Pediatrics Learning Academy. Now I have my coffee and I am ready for our conversation. To start our webinar, allow me to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Catherine Opida de Leon. She is currently a consultant pediatrician with the Department of Breastfeeding and Lactation Medicine of the Medical City and TMC Institute of Pediatrics, as well as an international board-certified lactation consultant. She is a fellow of the Philippine Pediatric Society and a founding member of the Philippine Society of Breastfeeding and Lactation Medicine. Let us all welcome Dr. Catherine De Leon.
Good morning, Dr. Claire.
So, Kathy, grabe, after hearing all of those credentials, may I just say, ang dami, nakakaubos hininga, as in, honestly, I feel so honored and thrilled to be your co-speaker and co-host today. Because it's Women's Month, gusto ko lang din i-share na idol ka talaga to si Doc Kathy. Because not only is she all of those things that I mentioned, but she's also a great tennis player, a fitness enthusiast, and currently training to be a high rocks athlete. So talagang beauty, brains, and strength. Diba? Girl power tayo today, Doc Kathy. We're so lucky to have you with us today.
Thank you, Dr. Claire, for that introduction of my professional and personal life. So that is called work-life balance. So now it's my turn actually to introduce you, Dr. Claire. So Dr. Claire Pioquinto Doble is a consultant pediatrician at the following hospitals and clinics. So the Medical City Ortigas, Tri-City Medical Center in Pasig, Prime Hospital and Medical Center also in Pasig, and Pioquinto Medical Clinic in Pasig. And she is an auxiliary commander of the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary. And like me, Dr. Claire is a fitness enthusiast also. She trains at the gym, pero I have yet to convince her to train for High Rocks, diba?
Bilang idol kita, gagawin ko.
Okay, so at this point, we would like to greet our participants. So thank you for spending your Saturday morning with us. So good morning to our participants who are joining us over on Zoom and Facebook. So please type in where you're watching from para ma-acknowledge naman namin kayo. And actually, I would like to shout out to our early bird sa Zoom, si Mr. Michael Angelo Olondris, who was in the waiting room ng siguro mga about 8:15. So good morning to you, sir. If you are here on Zoom, pa-shout out kung saan po kayo nanonood para maano namin kayo. So we also have we would like to welcome also our IOP consultants. We have Dr. Kwahunko, Dr. Arans, and Dr. Sunga on, I think on Zoom and Facebook. Good morning, doctors. Ayan. So, yes, Sir Michael, early bird. Saan po ba kayo galing? Okay, so saludo ako actually, Doc Claire, sa Philippine Coast Guard for watching over our waters and keeping us safe. And speaking of watching over what matters most, let's talk about our babies, especially those moments when they cry and parents don't know why. So let's watch the video. Good morning, Dr. Eileen. So we have a heart kay Miss, hindi ko nakita yung name, but thank you for that heart. Ang bilis dumaan sa Zoom.
Nako, bakit kaya umiiyak si baby? Kaka-breastfeed pa lang naman namin. Kakapalit lang rin ng diaper. Baby, andito si Mami. Tahan na please. Ayaw tumigil sa kakaiyak ni baby ngayon. Normal lang ba ito?
Baka masama pakiramdam ni baby. Tara, punta na tayo kay Doc.
Doc Cathy. Ayaw mag-move. Okay. So, Doc Cathy, napanood natin sa video ang isang common scenario, lalo na kapag first-time parent. And yung tanong ni mommy at daddy sa video are just some of the many questions na tinatanong ng mga magulang.
Oo nga, Doc Claire. Actually, maraming dahilan kung bakit umiiyak ang babies. Kadalasan, gutom, minsan overstimulated, minsan kailangan palitan ng diaper. And I agree sa decision ni Daddy na dalhin na si baby sa doktor para mapag-usapan kung normal lang ba ang ganung sitwasyon or meron ng medical intervention na kailangan.
I'm sure maraming tanong ang parents nila pagpunta nila sa doctor nila. So, let's address one common question, which is feeding. Doc Cathy, what is your recommendation when it comes to feeding our babies?
So ayon sa World Health Organization at UNICEF, all mothers are encouraged to breastfeed within the first hour of birth, exclusively breastfeed for the first 6 months of life, and introduce nutritionally adequate and safe complementary foods starting 6 months old, together with continued breastfeeding up to 2 years and beyond.
So, pagka panganak pala, pwede na mag-breastfeed, ano?
That's right, Dr. Claire. Meron tayong tinatawag na unang yakap or essential intrapartum and newborn care na dapat mangyari within the first hour of birth. So may 4 na steps ang unang yakap and kasama dito ang uninterrupted skin-to-skin ng mother and baby and non-separation of the mother and the baby. So when these steps are followed, breastfeeding happens within that first hour. And there is evidence to say na pag mas maaga na umpisahan ang breastfeeding, mas matagal ang breastfeeding duration ng mag-ina. Therefore, they enjoy the benefits of breastfeeding longer. Plus, of course, this whole golden hour right after birth has other benefits for the mother and the baby, and not just in terms of breastfeeding.
Yeah, napaka-importante pala talaga ng period na yan for both the mother and the baby. And as healthcare workers, syempre, we support those initiatives. And speaking of benefits, alam nating maraming benefits ang breastfeeding for both the mother and the baby. And among those, alin yung madalas mong ma-highlight sa mga magulang?
So bago ko sagutin yan, tayo muna ang magtatanong sa audience natin. So here's a scenario. Si Mommy may trangkaso, inuubo, may sipon, at nilalagnat din. Now, ang tanong natin sa ating mga audience, safe ba na ipagpatuloy niya ang breastfeeding habang may sakit siya? So please, to our audience, type in your answers.
We have questions.
Sige,
Check natin yung chat box.
So please type in your answers dito sa tanong natin so that we know what your... Ayan, so yes, we have one answer. Bias yung mga answer ng doctors. Sorry. So kay Mommy Gloriana, yes. Gloriana, yes. Sabi niya yes.
Gayahin niyo yung sasabihin ng mga doctors.
So yes, we have a yes on Zoom. Sa Facebook, tingnan natin sa Facebook kung meron ding mga sumagot. Yes or no, safe ba?
Alright.
So
What do you
actually,
think?
yes, actually, this question will also address one myth about breastfeeding. Yan. So, Dr. Tin Arast, yes. So, I agree. So, ang sagot po sa tanong natin ay, of course, a resounding yes. So, safe pa din magpatuloy ng breastfeeding si Mommy kahit may sakit siya.
Ang next question naman yan, Doc, is hindi ba mahahawa si baby?
So, actually, may risk na mahawa si baby. Pero more than that risk, mas makaka-benefit si baby dahil naipapasa ni Mommy yung antibodies na meron siya from that illness kay baby, hence protected si baby. And to minimize the risk of transmission, we encourage na lang na mag-mask si Mommy at of course maghugas ng kamay bago lapitan si baby.
Yeah. Doc, ang iba namang questions will be, paano kung may mga iniinom na gamot si mommy? Safe pa din ba for baby?
Yes, karamihan sa mga gamot ay compatible with breastfeeding, meaning safe pa din ituloy ang breastfeeding. Yung sa scenario natin kanina, malamang yung mga gamot niya ay paracetamol, gamot sa ubo, sipon, and pwedeng na-start din siya ng antibiotics. So most antibiotics actually are still compatible with breastfeeding. Meron lang mga iilan na gamot na hindi compatible, and your lactation experts can guide you on how to navigate this situation.
Okay. Doc Cathy, pag-usapan naman natin ang mga bawal when it comes to feeding our babies.
So isa sa madalas na tanong sa akin is, pwede bang bigyan ng extra water si baby? For babies less than 6 months old, hindi natin nirerekomenda na bigyan sila ng water. Their water requirement is provided by breast milk. And for babies naman receiving formula milk, yung tubig na ginagamit para magtimpla ng gatas ay sapat na. Now, bakit nga ba hindi pwede? So una, water can displace milk sa tiyan nila, meaning madali silang mabusog, pero kulang ang nutrients na pwedeng makuha sa water since wala namang nutrients yung water, and this can lead to undernutrition for our babies. And ang isang pwedeng mangyari din is kung madaming tubig ang napapainom kay baby, maaaring ma-dilute nito ang minerals sa katawan, particularly ang asin sa katawan, and maaaring magdulot ng serious health issues.
That's right. So ayan, mga mommies and daddies, kahit po mainit na panahon, sapat na ang breast milk or ang formula sa pag-provide ng hydration para sa mga babies natin.
Agreed, Doc Claire. So water can be introduced once the baby starts complementary feeding.
And speaking of complementary feeding, Doc Cathy, you mentioned earlier that the introduction of nutritionally adequate and safe complementary food starts at 6 months. So bakit 6 months?
Starting 6 months onwards, yung energy requirement ng babies lumalaki. Pero hindi na ito kayang punan ng breast milk alone. Ito yung tinatawag natin na energy gap. Yan yung nakikita natin dyan sa graph, yung pinapakita ng picture natin. So if you notice, lumalaki yung requirements nila, but the lighter part, the lighter shade, yun yung naibibigay lang ng breast milk. And starting 6 months, kulang na, hindi na siya umaabot dun sa tuktok ng chart. So kaya starting 6 months, kailangan may additional sources na ng energy or nutrition ang ating mga babies. And also at this stage, developmentally ready na din ang mga babies to accept other sources of food. Mature na ang tiyan nila to digest other complex sources of energy.
Another common question naman, Doc Cathy, is ano-ano yung mga pwedeng first foods ni baby?
So kadalasan, parents would give fruits and vegetables as baby's first food dahil marahil sa malalambot ang mga ito. But according to WHO, kailangan actually ni baby ang dietary diversity. So ibig sabihin, hindi lang limited sa isa or dalawang food group ang source ng pagkain. So ano-ano itong mga groups na to? So we have animal source foods kagaya ng meat, fish, eggs, and then we have the fruit and vegetables na group, and then we have pulses, nuts, and seeds. And then the next group, we have the grains, cereals, and roots. And siguro tatanungin tayo ng audience, paano niyo papakain yung karne kay baby? But we actually start with the consistency na kaya nila. So we offer pureed foods at the start. Then gradually, we adjust the consistency as they learn new skills needed for feeding. Hindi lang puro pureed foods hanggang 1-year-old. Kailangan pagdating ng around 8 to 9 months, pwede na ng soft, lumpy foods ang kinakain ng babies natin.
Okay. I just want to add also, Doc Cathy, that the WHO also emphasizes to provide iron-rich foods for our babies kasi at this age, nade-deplete na yung iron stores from birth, and breast milk is no longer enough to meet their increasing iron requirements for rapid growth and brain development. In fact, may mga napapanood ako, Doc Cathy, na videos, yung mga steak, literal steak, pinapasip-sip nila sa baby. May
Yes.
nakita ka na bang ganon? That's so cute,
Yes.
actually. And it's very smart kasi hindi naman sila macho-choke doon. Parang ginawa lang nilang chew toy.
Yes.
Anyway, I just wanted
Yes.
to share that. It was so cute. Baka magawa ng mga parents. But just make sure, na hawak ninyo. Safety always comes first.
Yes. Always
Anyway,
be with your baby.
Correct. So, Doc Kathy, ano naman ang mga bawal for our babies at this age when it comes to feeding?
Okay, so while we encourage dietary diversity and exposing our babies to a variety of flavors and food, ang isang bawal na ibigay for children less than 1 year is honey. So maari kasi itong contaminated with a certain bacteria that when present releases toxin that can be harmful for our babies dahil hindi pa nila kayang labanan sa katawan nila. And then other things that are not recommended by WHO and kailangan medyo bawasan are ito, added sugar and salt. So foods high in sugar, salt, and trans fat. So iwasan muna natin yan. Sugar sweetened beverages, iwasan muna natin. And even the consumption of fruit juice, ang recommendation nila is to limit it. So pwede once in a while. And actually, what they recommend is instead of giving it as a juice, pwede mong ibigay yung whole fruit mismo. So they get the fiber also out of it. So, yan.
That's interesting, no, Doc Kathy? Kasi even if kahit fresh fruit pala na pag ginus mo, not too much din pala. So, let's remember everything in moderation, no?
Tama, agree.
Ayun. So, it's important talaga na bata pa lang, we expose them na to a variety of flavors and ensure na nakakakuha sila ng sapat na nutrients na kailangan nila. And apart from that, apart from what they eat, equally important din ang pagtuunan ng pansin ang behavior and environment during meal times.
Agree, Doc Claire. So nabanggit mo about behavior and environment. And we actually advocate what we call responsive feeding. So ano bang ibig sabihin ng responsive feeding? So ibig sabihin nito is we consider baby's readiness. So yung cues nila for hunger and fullness, and yun, we respond accordingly. So meaning we feed them pag gutom sila and then we stop when they show fullness. Ito yung importante, Doc Claire, kasi madalas, okay, alam natin nagutom sila, but hindi natin pinapansin na, oy, pagbusog na sila, dapat we have to stop, okay? So, hindi pwedeng pilitin natin na maubos yung na-prepare natin na food for babies kung ayaw na nila. And actually, this is something that I discuss with my parents' patients before they start complementary feeding. So, around pinapabalik ko na sila bago pa mag 6 months si baby, bago pa nila talagang mag-start ng complementary feeding, because this is something very important that I discuss with them. Kasi, you know, pag sapat ang nutrition nila, they are protected from illnesses. And actually, may isa pang aspect of their health that also protects them from illnesses. And ito naman ay ang vaccination.
That's right. Sige. Doc Kathy, thank you so much for saying all of those things. And ang ganda ng point mo about baby readiness. Hindi lang pala age ang tinitingnan, ano, when starting solid foods, kundi development din. So you don't force feed your baby because eventually baka ma-traumatize yung baby, no? Pag
Yes.
naging toddler na. So it can lead to trauma. Mas mahihirapan din talaga kayong mag-feed. So parents,
Sorry. Ang
yes,
goal
yes, go,
natin,
Doc.
if I may just add, Doc Claire, ang
Yeah,
goal
of course,
natin
please.
during meal times, it should be a fun environment for our baby. So tama ka dyan, pag finorce feed natin, they will develop parang, alam mo yun, trauma na, okay, mas ayaw ko na kumain because pipilitin lang ako ni mommy. So it has to be a wholesome experience for our babies and the parents as well.
Agree. Okay, so parents, napag-usapan na natin ang unang B. That's breastfeeding and feeding as a whole, how we nourish our babies. But aside from nourishing our babies, kailangan din natin silang protektahan from illnesses, no, laban sa sakit. At dito papasok ang second B, which is bakuna. So let's watch this video.
Parang may kulang. Parang hindi pa kumpleto ang bakuna ni baby.
Uy, Mare, andyan ka pala. Kamusta? Bakit parang worried ka? Okay lang ba si baby?
Di pa kasi siya kumpleto sa bakuna. Medyo nag-worry na ako.
Pwede sa Barangay Health Center. Doon ko pinabakunahan yung anak ko. Tara sa center. Samahan kita.
Ayun. So nakita natin sa video na nagtungo sa health center yung magkumare. So for our audiences, I know dumadami na yung participants and viewers natin. So Okay, sa audience natin, sino po dito ang nagpapabakuna ng mga anak nila sa health center? So you can just, type me sa, ayan, may nag-raise hand, si Mommy Lovelyn Galicia. So she raised her hand. So ibig sabihin me, kayo po, di ba? So you can type in your chat box or you can raise your hand sa Zoom, nakikita namin. Kung nagpapabakuna kayo ng babies niyo sa health center, huwag po mahiya ha, kasi this is something that we pediatricians actually support. Ayan, me, si Camille Moredo, me. Ayan.
Very good.
And Nicole Daginod also, me. Ayan, o, di ba? Okay, so actually we have a few parents bringing their child sa health center for vaccines. Now, Doc Claire, pwede mo bang i-explain sa mga viewers natin kung ano-anong bakuna ang mga binibigay sa health center? At kung may pagkakaiba ba ito sa vaccines ng private clinics?
Okay, so papakita ko muna yung slide na to. This is the latest recommendation ng vaccination according to the Philippine Infectious Disease Society of the Philippines or PIDSP. So titingnan natin dito sa leftmost at birth, kung nakikita ninyo yan. So at birth, ideally, your baby should receive the BCG and hepatitis B, ideally before discharge from the hospital. So at 6 weeks, pwede na tayong pumunta sa health center. Kasi this is when your baby is going to be given the first dose of the pentavalent vaccine or kung yung naririnig din yung penta. Okay? This contains diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, H. influenza B, hepatitis B with the oral polio vaccine. So that's already 6 vaccines. And most of the time, sinasabay din nila sa kabilang hita. So magkabilaan yung injections, no? One thigh will receive the penta and the other thigh will receive the first dose of your PCV or your pneumococcal vaccine. That will be a total of 3 doses each and isa-schedule kayo niya ng health center. Measles vaccine will be given at 9 months and MMR will be given at 1 year old. Another thing before I forget, the rotavirus vaccine that we give, that's oral vaccine, we give that at 6 weeks old. Minsan hindi available sa lahat ng health centers. Okay, so there are health centers that do give this for free, but some don't. So just ask your pediatrician about this or ask also the health center. Baka naman they can also offer it.
So, Doc Claire, may difference ba yung vaccines from the health center and private clinics?
So, nagkakaiba lang siya, Doc Kathy, sa 6-in-1 or sa Penta plus OPV sa center. In private clinics kasi we give the 6-in-1 vaccine already. The ones I mentioned, the DPT, IPV, Hib, and Hepa B. So that's 6 vaccines in 1 injection. We don't give the oral polio vaccine anymore because it's already the injectable polio vaccine that's included in the 6-in-1. So, another difference is that the vaccines in the health center does have a greater chance of causing fever and swelling, but the fever goes away after a day or 2, and the swelling also subsides on its own naman. So nothing to worry about.
Okay, but they're both equally effective, right?
Yes, they are actually equally effective. So that's why, if you do prefer to go to the health center, then yeah, that's a really good option.
Okay, that's good to know, Doc Claire. Pero ang dami pang vaccines na nakalagay dun sa chart mo.
Actually, yes, ang dami nga nila. It's a little overwhelming, especially when you're just looking at this, but it's not going to be given at one time naman. So your pediatrician will schedule this monthly or kung kailan kayo available. But so it's up to you and your doctor to discuss the scheduling. So ito yung mga bakuna na kukunin na ninyo sa family doctor ninyo or pediatrician. So kung titingnan ninyo, di ba I mentioned earlier that your vaccine at the health center ends at 1 year old. So you will continue that the vaccination schedule with your pediatrician or your private doctor already, okay? At 1 year old, kasi this is when the health center will tell you na graduate na ang anak ninyo sa bakuna. But what they really mean is graduate na kayo sa health center. So again, the last vaccine that will be given at the health center will be the MMR, and after that, wala na. Okay? Again, hindi pa kayo graduate sa vaccinations, graduate kayo sa health center. So let's look at the graph. Tingnan niyo yung pang 1-year-old onwards. So at 1-year-old onwards, yung mga due vaccines na are chickenpox or varicella, or yan yung bulutong. Sorry. So, chickenpox, bulutong, or varicella, isa lang yan. Hepatitis A, Japanese encephalitis, meningococcal vaccines, the annual influenza vaccine that we give starting 6 months pataas, and the booster shots of the vaccines that were given at the health center. 2 years old ang typhoid vaccine.
Okay, so Doc Claire, I'm sure many parents are are wondering, after hearing about all these vaccines, I'm sure tatanungin nila, ba't ang daming bakuna ngayon?
I know. Yes, Doc Cathy. Actually, yes. Tinatanong din talaga ako at sinasabi nila, Doc, kailan ba kami matatapos, 'di ba? So, marami kasing maraming vaccines na binibigay because these vaccines give specific protection to infections. So, at mga infections na to ay pwedeng magdulot ng malubhang sakit sa mga bata. Like, for example, the rotavirus vaccine protects against severe diarrhea caused by the rotavirus infection. The pneumococcal vaccine naman protects against infections caused by the pneumococcal bacteria na pwedeng magdulot ng pneumonia, brain infection, blood infection, among other things. Measles protects against measles or tigdas. So each vaccine is designed to protect against a specific virus or bacteria.
So in other words, the reason there are more vaccines today is because we are now able to prevent more diseases in children.
Exactly. And that's actually good news, no? Kasi bago tayo magkaroon ng bakuna, marami sa mga sakit na to can actually cause serious illnesses and lifelong complications. So isipin na lang natin before yung polio, 'di ba? Yung before the advent of the vaccines, ang daming nagkaroon ng polio, and then they made a vaccine against it, and now it's like it's eradicated already, 'di ba? So that's amazing. Sometimes some of these diseases can actually cause death in children.
So vaccines clearly play a very important role in protecting our children. But Dr. Claire, when babies come for their appointments, your vaccine appointments, that's not the only thing that pediatricians check, right?
That's right. So vaccination is very important, but sa well baby checkup, marami pa kayong ibang titingnan to make sure that the baby is growing and developing well. And this is what we mean by the third B, bantayan. During well baby checkups, pediatricians monitor several important things. Okay, number 1 is growth. We measure the baby's weight, the length or height, and we track these on a growth chart. So, kung makikita ninyo sa slides, those are the growth charts that your pediatrician will track every well baby visit, just to make sure lang that the baby is growing appropriately. And then we also check for developmental milestones. For example, at 4 months old, kaya na ba ni baby mag-roll? We also ask kung kaya na ba niyang dumapa, roll at 6 months, and sit independently at 8 months, and so on. Another thing is, ano ba ang kaya niyang sabihin? So I ask this all the time during well baby visits. Ano na ba yung kayang sabihin niya ni baby? Kaya na ba niya magmama, magpapa? Kaya na ba niya mag-point to objects? So it depends on the age of the baby, no? So as this will help to see if the baby's brain and motor development are on track. And as discussed earlier, we also talk to parents about their concerns. So we add the discussion on breastfeeding, complementary feeding, is the baby's diet appropriate for age? During these visits, we can detect potential concerns early and when they are easier to address.
So now that you mentioned those things, ang next question actually, Dr. Claire, is tuwing kailan ba dapat dinadala si baby sa pediatrician? Tuwing may sakit lang ba? And actually, this is we want to throw this question also sa ating mga viewers. So, kailan niyo po ba dinadala si baby sa doktor? Tuwing may sakit lang ba dapat dalhin ang ating mga babies? So, to our viewers, you can type again your answers sa chat box, pati po sa Facebook natin. Yan, let's see kung may sumagot. No. No, meaning hindi lang tuwing may sakit. Okay, so we want a no answer.
We want a no answer.
Yes, so hindi lang tuwing may sakit. Very good. No. So Camille Moredo says no.
Let's wait for the other participants
Sa
to
Facebook
chime
kaya?
in.
Sa Facebook ba may mga nag-no?
Ang hirap
Or
din
nag-yes?
kasi, Doc Cathy, na parang when they get there and they're sick, mahirap din talagang mag-well baby check-up.
Yes. Yan.
Like, you need to focus on the disease, lalong-lalo na pag hinihingal. 'Di ba?
Yes. So
Hindi mo na
kailangan
sila matanong habang hinihingal si baby. So, ano na pong kayang sabihin ni baby? 'Di ba? So, hindi mo siya mai-insert doon.
yes, limited. Nakafocus
Yeah.
ka lang sa sakit. And we want a holistic approach in, monitoring our
Mm-mm.
babies, 'di ba?
As much as possible naman, holistic yung, at correct ka, Doc Cathy. As much as possible, we do want to check everything during visits. Pero kung talaga namang hindi kaya na isingit yung ibang milestones or yung ibang concerns like vaccines, uunahin po talaga namin yung sakit. So, that brings us to the answer of this question. Tuwing may sakit lang ba dapat dalhin sa pediatrician si baby? So, ideally, no. Okay? Ideally, you need to bring your baby for a wellness checkup. Meaning, you need to bring your baby ng walang sakit para ma-monitor natin. Like the growth and development, doon makikita natin yung mga other concerns, like kunwari kung may speech delay ba, kung hindi pa ba nakakapagsalita si baby, kung hindi pa ba siya nakakaupo at the right time.
Okay. So even if the baby looks healthy, regular checkups are still important. So parents, remember the 3 Bs para kay baby. So we have breastfeeding or feeding, which helps our babies grow strong.
Bakuna protects them from serious diseases, and bantayan regularly checks up to monitor growth and development.
And if parents ever feel unsure about something,
And they find themselves asking, Doc,
Doc,
okay ba to? Don't hesitate to consult your pediatrician.
Okay, so our audience has been very engaging and I'm sure may mga tanong na tayo actually. So now, Doc Claire and I will be answering them. So you can type your questions po on the Zoom chat box or the comment section on Facebook. We have a tech team who monitors our questions sa Facebook. And isa-shout out ko lang po si Dr. Ricana Lu, our pediatric cardiologist. She's watching us sa Zoom, I think, or sa Facebook. Hi, Castle. So, ayan. May mga tanong na ba tayo? Meron. Unahin natin. Meron nakitang tanong, yung unang-unang tanong kanina. May early bird din ba tayo sa first question? Okay. So, ito, nakita ko kasi ano to?
Ito, Doc Cathy, maybe you wanna answer this?
Sandali,
Si Miss Mika is asking, Doc, bakit Miss Mika Duremdes? Hi,
Okay.
Miss Mika. Thank you for joining us today. Sabi niya, Doc, bakit po baby ko, simula nag 2 weeks siya, parang nahihirapan na siyang dumumi, ire siya ng ire, pero malambot.
Malambot
I'm assuming
naman.
malambot
Oo.
naman ang dumi.
Yes. Okay.
Malakas
So yes,
naman
malambot naman. Okay. So pag malambot naman ang dumi, kasi yung ire is also an act of, release, yung divided pressure. So normally talagang iire sila para mailabas nila yung poop nila. But if sabi nga ni Mika, malambot naman yung dumi, and if the frequency is regular naman and the baby is feeding well and achieving the milestones, then this is just something that your pediatrician can advise you to observe. So yun yung Yun yung tanong natin kay Mika. Ay sagot natin kay Mika. Do we have?
As long as hindi naman matigas, 'di ba, Doc Cathy?
Yes.
And basta walang bleeding ha. Make sure lang na iire pero walang bleeding and the poop is soft. Yung medyo mushy yan. Kapag ang poop ng baby usually mushy. Okay? So
Tama.
kapag tumigas or kapag may blood na, please bring your baby to the doctor.
Yes. Importante. Okay. Another one. Okay, meron.
Madami ang
Nicole.
questions, Doc Cathy. Laban.
Yes. So from Nicole Dagino, Doc, normal lang po ba abutin ng 5 to 7 days before mag-poop si baby? He's 4 months old and formula fed po kami. So pag formula fed, minsan mas madalang sila dumumi compared to your breastfed babies. And again, ang tinitingnan natin dyan more than the frequency is also the consistency and other symptoms. Yung nabanggit ni Doc Claire kanina, kung matigas, kung may kasamang dugo, then yun yung mga tatandaan ninyo. And then that would be your cue to bring your baby to your pediatrician also.
Okay. Doc Cathy, there's a question on Facebook. Good morning. Good AM po, Doc. Bakit po nagkaka-fever at swelling from health center vax? Yet sa private hindi nagkaka-fever at swelling. So both effective as per stated. Yes, they're both effective. There is a difference between the component ng 6-in-1 vaccine sa private clinics and the component ng vaccines in health centers. And that's the pertussis component. They use the whole cell. Compared to the vaccine in 6-in-1, they use the acellular. So may tinanggal silang part sa vaccine ng 6-in-1 or yung vaccines in private clinics para mabawasan yung side effects na yon. So that's the pertussis component. I hope that's clear.
Yes, pero again, both are still effective.
Yes,
right,
they're
Doc
both
Claire?
effective.
Okay.
Another question, Doc Cathy. Hi, Doc. Si Miss Loveline Galicia. Good morning, Miss Loveline. Thank you for joining us. May question lang po ako. May baby po kasi experiencing rashes present. First dose IPV, third dose Penta, and third dose na oral polio vaccine last Monday, March 23. After a day, nagkalagnat na po siya. Then may pula na parang rashes until today. Namumula at nawawala at naglilipat sa face niya. Then, ngayon bumaba na sa likod. Nagpapidya na po kami, sabi po, dust bite lang. Okay. Kailan nga, my question, maybe, kailan nga nalito na ako? Kailan yung rashes? Is it immediately after the vaccine? Because
Siguro
it's
pag
already
ganito,
March 20.
Yeah, siguro pag ganito, Doc Claire, no, mas magandang dalhin niya sa pediatrician para we can monitor yung timeline, yung kung related ba yung paglabas ng vaccine sa bakuna, 'di ba? Kasi we need to look into the details pa pag ganyan.
So, usually what we say, sabi niya kasi dinala niya nga sa pedia and sabi dust bite lang. Baka dust mite, baka baka dust mite or yung surot. So, kung kunwari nagbigay na yung pedia ninyo ng gamot and meron pa rin, you really need to follow up with your pedia if hindi effective kasi baka it could be something else. So most of the time, we really advise you to follow up.
Yes. So, importante po to follow up. Okay. Now, we have another question from Camille. So, good morning, Doctora. Good morning, Camille. So, what vitamins should a breastfeeding mom take daily? So, actually, you can take your regular multivitamins. Pero mas maganda actually if we make sure that our diet consists of, a healthy variety. So, yun, yung regular multivitamins. And usually, yung mga pakapanganak na mommies, ang ina-advise ko actually is, kung ano yung prenatal vitamins ninyo, pwede nyo actually ituloy po yun as your daily vitamins also. So, yun.
Thank you po for the answer. Actually, we will go to Doc Claire's clinic later. Mommy
Ayun,
Nicole, I will see you later.
Ayan.
I-save mo yung mga questions mo.
Magpa-appointment na kayo kay Doc Claire. Okay. Ayan. So, we have a question from Okay, so isa sa
Not
mga
common.
usual question, tama, yes, siguro na-encounter to ni Doc Shan. Isa sa mga usual questions ng parents ay kung paano malalaman kung sapat na ang gatas na binibreastfeed ni baby. And actually, yes, actually yan yung million-dollar question ng mga breastfeeding moms kasi wala namang markers yung breasts natin. We don't know kung ilang ml na yung nakuha ni baby. Pero actually meron po kaming mga palatandaan on, you know, how we can assess that your baby is getting enough milk. Una is yung frequency ng breastfeeding. Gaano kadalas nagbe-breastfeed si baby. Gusto natin mag-breastfeed sila at least 8 to 12 times in 24 hours. Pangalawa, minomonitor po natin yung pagdumi nila. So this is especially in the first 6 weeks of life. Kailangan dumudumi sila araw-araw. Kasi syempre, when they're getting good intake, dudumi sila. And also, one thing that we monitor is the urine, so ihi. So yung pupu and wiwi, minomonitor natin. And also the weight. That's why it's important na kahit walang sakit si baby, during regular checkups, dalhin si baby because that's part of the things that we monitor. So pag check lahat yon, then you're good. Baby is getting enough breast milk. Yon. I hope I answered your question.
So, yeah, that's a really good point. So make sure the urine output is adequate, the weight gain is adequate. Okay? May nag-comment sa Facebook, once a year general checkup sa FB. So I flashed kanina yung regular checkups, ideally ng isang baby. So again, let me reiterate. So after discharge from the hospital, after 3 to 5 days, dapat follow up na kayo with your pediatrician because again, like what Doc Cathy said, kailangan i-check if adequate yung feeding. So, okay ba yung weight gain? Baka naman sobrang laki ng weight loss, di ba? And then, you come back after 1 month, and then 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, and then 9 months, 12 months, and so on. So, your doctor will actually schedule this for you kung hindi kayo regularly nagpupunta for vaccination. Most of the time kasi, di ba, Doc Cathy, kung nagpapavaccine sa health center, that's their usual schedule. Pero if you go to your private pediatrician for vaccination, usually we schedule them monthly.
Yes, and if I could just add, Dr. Claire, actually meron akong mga patients na mas gusto talaga nila sa health center. So, of course, I allow it. Pero, sinischedule ko rin sila ng well baby checkup sa akin. So, I just tell them,
Correct.
okay, vaccine kayo, pero balik tayo para ma-monitor ko yung ibang aspects naman. So,
Mm-mm.
actually, yung nag-comment sa Facebook natin, si Sir Jopril Espartero. So, siya yung nagsabi na once a year general checkup. And we agree. Siguro medyo malaki na yung anak ni Sir, no? Medyo toddler years. Na kasi pag earlier talaga mas frequent, pero I think starting 3, no?
Yeah.
Once a year, well check up. So kahit walang sakit. Okay.
Correct.
Do we have more questions? Wait, tingnan natin sa Zoom. Please keep your questions coming. Wait, makita.
All right, I think na-discuss na natin most of the questions naman, Doc Cathy.
Yes. Let's just wait for our... So, expanded. Okay. Sige.
All
Parang
right, sige.
ibang question pa dun. Wait, tingnan natin. Let's
How about
check.
sa FB? Did you check sa?
Ayan, antayin natin ang tech team natin.
May nagtatanong. Ito, may
Ayan,
nag-private message, medyo nahihiya yata, Doc Cathy, na ilabas
Oo
yung
nga,
name
sige.
nila. Kung nawala ko ang record ng anak ko at di ko maalala kung nabigyan na siya ng bakuna, pwede po ba siyang mabakunahan ulit? Hindi ba siya ma-overdose? That's a really good question. No? I will explain. I will answer this, and I hope you're listening since it's a private message. So there is no overdose naman with the vaccination. So kung nawala ninyo yung baby book, nawala ninyo yung record, it's better to just give the vaccine again. Okay? It's better to err on the side of caution. Ika nga, di ba, the Cathy? So, better na we're sure na protected si baby kesa sa baka nabigay naman, no? So, wag na lang natin ibigay. Doc, alam ko nabigay eh, pero you're not sure eh, lalong-lalo na if there's an outbreak. Like recently, Doc Ate, I just wanna share, there is recently there's an outbreak, hindi naman outbreak, pero there's an increase in cases of chickenpox here in the community namin. So, ang daming cases. So, pag hindi nila natatandaan kung nabigyan ng bakuna during infancy, talagang I would advise na mabigyan.
Yes, agree din ako sa'yo. Agree ako dyan sa'yo, Doc Claire. So, ika nga, kung hindi sigurado, pabigyan na lang. And actually, may isang follow-up question ako doon. So, kasi nabanggit mo kanina, especially sa health center, sa isang hita, may isang turok, kabilang hita, may turok. Okay lang ba yun? Sabay-sabay? Tinatanong ka ba ng mga parents?
It's okay kasi kung if you remember, we give the baby Penta in the health center or 6-in-1. Those are actually 6 different vaccines in one injection. So they're all safe, all of these vaccines naman before yan ibigay sa mga babies. Talaga namang na-study yan for many, many years, in fact. So na-field yan sa na malalim yung studies nila when it comes to safety profile ng vaccine. So yes.
Sometimes ang joke ko dyan sa mga parents, what I tell them is, kaya ni baby na sabay-sabay yung vaccines. Minsan ang hindi nakakayanan yung bulsa ng parents.
Correct.
Yun yung joke ko sa
Actually,
mga parents.
funny because 'di ba, most of the time natatapos gumagraduate sila sa pediatrician nila, usually around 2 years old. That's when we give the last shots. And then annual vaccines, annual influenza na lang yung pinupunta nila. So may time na sabi ng mom, Dok, baka pwedeng bigyan mo kami ng certificate of graduation from vaccination. I'm like, maybe I will do that.
Oo, why not? Wait, meron tayong follow-up question on sorry, may follow-up question from Giselle. This is not actually follow-up from Giselle, pero parang related dun sa question natin kanina. So sabi ni Giselle, Doc, hi Doc, I have allergic rhinitis. Anong vitamins po kaya ang pwede kong i-take? Breastfeeding mom. So actually with multivitamins, they're generally safe for breastfeeding. So as I have mentioned earlier, any multivitamins will do. Kung may allergic rhinitis kayo, then that's a specific medication na kailangan. Mas magandang magpa-check kayo sa inyong obstetrician or family physician. But generally, all medications for allergic rhinitis are compatible with breastfeeding. So kung bigyan po kayo ng gamot ng iyong doktor, safe pa rin po yun. And okay.
I hope that answers your question, Mommy Giselle.
Okay.
May nagtatanong pa, Doc Cathy.
Sige.
Balik tayo sa breastfeeding. Kailangan bang gisingin si baby para padedehin? Before that, may tanong siyang, paano malalaman kung sapat ang gatas? So that one we already explained before. Yung follow-up niya is, kailangan bang gisingin si baby para dedehin?
Okay, so yes, tinatanong din ng parents sa akin 'yan. Nabanggit ko kanina yung frequency ng feeding na dapat the babies are feeding about 8 to 12 times in 24 hours. And actually, importante itong dinidiscuss, especially during the first few weeks. So, pinapabilang ko po talaga sa parents yung frequency ng feeding, kung nakaka-8 na ba tayo or hindi pa. Kasi kung naaabot naman ni baby yung kailangan natin na frequency of feeding, then you don't need to wake the baby up kasi they actually will wake up to feed. Pero kung sa pagbilang nyo, kunyari, magto 24 hours na or 12 hours na, nakaka-4 or nakaka-5 pa lang siya, then you really need to have to wake your baby up to feed. So pag may mga ganyan po, mas maganda na pumunta kayo sa inyong doktor para ma-assess namin kung bakit ba hindi gumigising si baby to feed on their own. Baka may ibang problema na tayo. And yung isang tanong na, paano po pagod na talaga?
Pagod na
pagod na si mommy. Sino po si baby? Well, this is where the support system comes in actually. So, dito kailangan ng mga mommies, ang daddies, ang support ng in-laws, ng parents nila. Kasi syempre, kailangan magpahinga ng mommies. So, hindi sila pwedeng, the moms cannot take care of other people, of her baby, kung hindi niya rin aalagaan yung sarili nila. So, kung kailangan mong matulog, kunyari, you're breastfeeding, kailangan mong matulog, sige, matulog ka. Pwede mong i-instruct si daddy na, ikaw muna mag-alaga kay baby, pag gutom, itabi mo sa akin, mag-feed ako, and then after feeding, okay, balik sa'yo, i-burp mo kasi matutulog muna ako. So, pwede pong ganon. Kailangan maganda yung support system ni mami para pag pagod naman siya, huwag na nating antayin na pagod na pagod. Pag pagod na siya, she can rest and have other people take care muna of baby. So, yun.
I love that answer, Doc Cathy. Thank you so much for reiterating the support, because it takes a village talaga, Doc Cathy, to raise a baby. You cannot do it alone, no?
Yes,
You really
true.
need the support of your family. So unfortunately, that's all the time we have left for today. So thank you all for all of your questions. I'm so grateful that you chose to spend your Saturday morning with us, and I hope that today we were able to guide you with your okay ba to questions. And just remember, parenting is not about getting everything right all the time. We are not aiming for perfection. What matters is that you show up for your child, you care for them, and you do the best you can. And if you feel unsure, remember that we are your partners. You can always come to us. Okay? How about you, Doc Cathy? Do you have any parting words?
I will actually add on to what you said. Yung message mo is addressed to parents, diba? So ako din, ang sasabihin ko sa kanila is actually, I advise you to find yourself a pediatrician that you can trust. Kasi when you go to your pediatrician, hindi lang simpleng, Dok, bakit sinisipon? Dok, bakit nagtatay yung anak ko? You have to find a doctor that you can trust. You can air out all your concerns, lahat ng concerns mo. Yung hindi ka matatakot na, ay, baka hindi ako sagutin ni Dok, ay, baka sabihin ni Dok, okay lang yan. So, please find yourselves a trusted pediatrician para pag may tanong ka, you are free to ask your questions. And alam mong katuwang mo yung doktor mo sa pagpapalaki ng babies mo.
Very well said, Doc Cathy. You really need a good relationship with your healthcare worker. So truly, this discussion has been a great start to our morning. To all of you watching this morning, and to Doc Cathy, until our next coffee and
Conversation.
conversations.